What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan. Welcome to the Nootropics 20 sponsors. What makes the Nootropics 20 possible is sponsors, and those sponsors are us. Look, we've got great nootropic products at livecortex.com. Number one, fittingly, we have a nootropic stack. It is called Cortex, for those of you that don't know. We made it for entrepreneurs for just prolonged periods of work, focus, motivation, mental energy, verbal fluency, mood. It's a great stack. Get it at livecortex.com. Right now, if you need my help in formulating stacks, we have an option for that. It is a consulting service. It's a nootropics consulting service where we actually sit down with you for 40 minutes over the phone and figure out your issues and then suggest stacks to you and then work with you to refine those stacks. If you really want to just sort of skip that and get an understanding of nootropics and stack formulation and inducing certain states on cue, that is at the master class, sort of the 5 to 6 year plus echelon of taking nootropics, by the Nootropics Masterclass. It is a video course that teaches you that. And then last thing, if you're a dude and need to raise your testosterone, look, I mean, I'm so hot on this right now. It is the most, right now it's like my number one kind of biohacking focus. I'm so excited about it because I raise my own test. I'm raising men's tests all around the world with a protocol. It's called the Viking Testosterone Protocol. It's a service basically, and you can get that at livecortex.com. All right, so we're getting into the Nootropics 20. The Nootropics 20 is 20 straight minutes of stuff relating to nootropics and biohacking. I got a lot of really, really cool topics that I want to discuss, and we will start off with a question that came through that says, do you think nootropics can solve people's problems? It's sort of a vague question, and it's kind of like, you know, if you get the right stack, can it solve your problems? And breaking that down a little bit, I think the answer is yes. It depends on what your problems are, right? So if your issue is you're trying to build a side business on top of your job and you're having a hard time focusing and kind of getting motivated to do it, then absolutely nootropics can solve that issue. If you've got the right combination of things that are going to allow you to focus and have a higher processing speed and also get you motivated and then give you mental energy if you don't have it, then nootropics can absolutely solve your issue. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that are in a job and they're studying for a promotion. Real estate agents do this a lot. And in order to get that promotion or to ascend to being able to be a real estate agent, they have to take a series of tests. And their problem is that they don't have good working memory, and then getting the right racetam stack usually fixes that. They can study, they pass the test, and then they ascend further in their career. So it all really depends on what your problem is. I mean, obviously, obscure, unrelated issues, are not going to be fixed by nootropics. Second question, red light therapy for female fertility. It was an email that came through that was like, hey, Ryan, you always talk about, sperm mobility and testosterone for males with red light therapy. Is there something to be said for female fertility? The answer is absolutely there is, and specifically what you're looking at. So, like, here's the deal with female infertility. Usually, it is if it's a natural set of issues, meaning like the female is not doing things that prevent her fertility. If it's just aging, as an example, then egg quality and egg age in ovaries of a woman is a pretty big determinant of success for getting pregnant. And, the older the woman is, the older the eggs are. And essentially what that means in biochemical terms is that the energy production, so the ATP formulation in those eggs, within the cells and the mitochondria of those eggs, is not up to par because those are aging eggs. So the energy production is a lot less. What red light therapy does, infrared red light therapy does, is it enhances the mitochondria of the cells in the ovaries and optimizes those eggs. It's actually been studied in Japan, I believe, where a lot of infertile women were able to get pregnant, like a large percentage of them, because they had essentially realized that what they did by shining, infrared red light therapy, 660 nanometers to 800 something nanometers on the woman's ovaries for like 10 minutes a night, 4 or 5 times a night, changed the age of the eggs. So yes, the answer is red light therapy definitely does help with female fertility. So if you're female, an older female that you maybe think you've got some egg quality issues because you're older, then use that. Ultimately, it's all about egg quality. And then otherwise from that, like setting your body up condition-wise, which is really diet-wise and sleep-wise, to be able to house a little person. Okay, next question. Do I notice a difference between modafinil versus adrafinil? I do notice a difference between the two of them. It's not substantial. Obviously, you have to take different doses. With modafinil, I'm like 75 to 100 milligrams, and my kind of usual dose with adrafinil, it's 150 to 300 milligrams. But the primary difference that I notice, so first of all, both of them are very wakefulness promoting for me. It gets me really energized. My brain works really quick. I feel like I have a larger reservoir. I just feel like I have more control of my brain. More of my brain seems to be able to work. It's great for doing anything, being productive, playing guitar, going to the gym. It's just kind of awesome for that. But the primary difference that I notice between the two of them, because they are different compounds, adrafinil is converted to modafinil once you ingest it within 40 minutes to an hour. Modafinil is just straight modafinil. Is that the effect of adrafinil, for me, is a little heavier on my brain, so it almost feels more like a stimulant, but it's not. Neither of them really feel like stimulants, but adrafinil feels more like a stimulant, whereas modafinil, I don't feel anything necessarily. I'm just completely 100% on top of my game, and my brain is working really, really good. Like I slept for 40 hours or something. That's the difference between the two of them for me, and I think that's the case for a lot of other folks. Once you get into armodafinil and hydrafinil and flomodafinil, compared to modafinil, there isn't really a difference other than you dose them differently because you're talking about different levels of bioavailability. Next question: if I want to have a super smart child, how do I do that with nootropics? Well, I'll say this: the thread starter on the Mr. Happy Stack thread, which is on Longecity, it's like 100 pages or something. He said that he had given his, I think he was either giving the mother when she was pregnant. He was giving the mother when she was pregnant the Mr. Happy Stack, which is DHA, alpha GPC, uridine, B complex, and some minerals, and the kid turned out, as far as he could anecdotally state to us, pretty good and smart. If the mother's breastfeeding the kid, then in breast milk, the kid is essentially getting neurogenic compounds from the mother. She's getting uridine, she's getting DHA, she's getting citicoline or some sort of choline, she's getting B vitamins, and so that should be adequate enough. In babies' formulas, the ingredients are essentially the same. I mean, there's a lot of ingredients in babies' formulas, but they do have essentially the Mr. Happy Stack neurogenic compounds if you go look at the ingredients. And that's really all I would say. If you want to optimize it, this is not my, disclosure. I do not know how this is going to work or whether or not it's going to be safe for a pregnancy. But one could consider what the Mr. Happy Stack thread starter did, which is give his wife those compounds: uridine, DHA, alpha GPC, B complex, magnesium, and vitamin E, and some other minerals. That's what I would say about that. I can't give you any definites, but that's just sort of me talking about what I've seen. Next question: best fasiracetam daily dosage? Well, first of all, taking fasiracetam daily is not a great idea unless it is something that you absolutely need. And there are situations where that's the case, where somebody just has continuous anxiety and or a lack of focus, and no other nootropics that they've tried or lifestyle things that they've tried work, indicating some sort of genetic issue or otherwise issue. That for now, because I don't foresee that person in this hypothetical taking fasiracetam every day until they're 90. For now, they would need to take fasiracetam pretty regularly. And in that case, you're looking at like 10 to 20 milligrams. That's it. Finding your sweet spot in between. Most other people use fasiracetam in different ways, just to sort of induce a good focus 5 times a month or something. That's kind of how I do it with some other chemicals. And then some people use fasiracetam to sleep, 20 milligrams before bed, and they're kind of just in. Some people I know take 40 milligrams before bed, and it just helps them get a really, really restful sleep, and nothing else happens. They don't have any negative side effects and nothing else positive. They just sleep really great. So that's what I would say about that. Next point was, I think I found this on the Nootropics subreddit or one of the Facebook groups on Nootropics. Guy was talking about having a Phenyl Piracetam overdose. And his primary symptoms in that situation was that he was twitching, and he generally just felt uneasy. Well, so Phenyl Piracetam is probably one of the most strong muscular cholinergics there is. To clear it up, I mean, when you go to the gym and move, and when you run and when you move your body, one of the chemicals that's required for your muscular contraction is acetylcholine, and that's what Phenyl Piracetam is essentially optimizing the profile of. So since it's very strong, and it definitely is, for some folks you'll run into that, twitching, because you're talking about activating muscles. So if your eye is twitching or something, or some of your muscles are twitching, that's just acetylcholine. What I would do in that particular case, if you run into, and by the way, the guy was like, I'll never take Phenyl Piracetam again. I don't think it should be approached that way. I think what you should do instead is you should, first of all, lower the dose substantially. And with your lower dose, take a B complex. That's going to help regulate cholinergic functioning everywhere. And then, if you're in that acute phase where Phenyl Piracetam is affecting you that way, you need to go move your body. That's what I've been there before, okay? You have to go work out or run or something, and that'll be cleared up pretty quickly after you start to essentially burn that extra acetylcholine that's floating around, making your muscles contract at an excessive level. Next question. Well, it's really kind of just a anecdotal. Guy said uridine, basically saying uridine monophosphate is good at 100 milligrams per my suggestion. The guy referenced me in a Facebook group and said that anything else, though, gives him lethargy. So I want to say two things. Number one, if you're going to take uridine by itself and 100 milligrams is good and anything else gives you lethargy, then just hearing it from me, do not take any more than 100 milligrams of uridine. Otherwise, if you want to take more than that or take it a little more consistently or something, then you need cofactors with it. At the very least, you need to be taking CDP choline or alpha GPC with it. That's at the very least. And really what you should be doing is you should make sure that you have an adequate amount of B vitamins in your diet. So hopefully you're eating beef or fish or something, or taking a B complex. And you also want to supply yourself with enough EPA and DHA to help uridine to do its job, which is essentially to optimize dopamine receptors and induce neurogenesis. So you just want to get the cofactor situation straight if you're going to take anything other than 100 milligrams of uridine. What is my take on elimination diets? This is actually a great question. Elimination diets are useful in determining what is wrong with you, okay? So if you're feeling particularly fatigued or tired regularly and you think it is something that you're eating and causing some sort of reaction in your small or large intestine, then an elimination diet is a good idea, but so that you can see exactly what's causing the problem, but you've got to approach it almost like we talk about stack formulation, very, very surgically, taking things out and then repeating the eating process and seeing how you feel so that you can determine, okay, like it's carbohydrates in excess or something, or just regular complex carbohydrates like potatoes or something that are making me feel bad, whereas I could eat like simple carbs and it's kind of a little better. Then in that case, you're looking at fermenting of those carbohydrates with bacteria in your small intestine, and then okay, look, I've got SIBO, I've got to address that. When it comes to other foods, it's usually the same thing with elimination diets. Like, if gluten affects you negatively and you do an elimination diet and you get gluten out of your body and you start to feel better, it's not your indication that you should avoid gluten. You probably should for now until you fix your gut, but it is an indication that something in your stomach and your intestines is not responding well or reacting well with gluten. And so it's normally permeability of the gut barrier, so intestinal permeability, which is basically leaky gut, and you've got to work on fixing that in order to do that. I've had many food sensitivities over time, And then I had learned what was wrong with my digestion and my intestinal function, really having to do with the microbiota, and then fix that, and then I could eat those foods. Now I could eat everything, whereas like there was a point at which I did elimination, and I could not eat a lot of stuff. Now I can eat, it's like everything. You fix it, a lot of things fix themselves. I can eat ice cream at 3 p.m. and not get a blood sugar crash, too. You have to fix everything. Is Fenugreek good for testosterone? Absolutely. Fenugreek contains a specific class of saponins that basically produce testosterone, help the production of testosterone, that process. So yeah, Fenugreek's great. You're talking about 2 grams a day. This is anecdotal, so I don't know why this is the case, but if you go above 2 grams, like 3 or 4 grams, and you're doing that consistently, it doesn't seem to have as sharp as an effect or as good as an effect of just taking 2 grams of fenugreek a day. That number is different for different people, though. Sometimes it's 3 grams is perfect for them, but 4 grams, something happens where there's a homeostatic thing where they don't produce enough testosterone from it. I have a very particular dose of fenugreek, and yeah, fenugreek is one of the most powerful things for testosterone. Out of the 20 things that people use for tests and the 9 things on the Viking testosterone protocol, of which fenugreek, is one. Fenugreek's pretty important for test. Question came through that was like, hey Ryan, basically the guy's saying I am stressful because of my work and I cannot sleep. What do you suggest? Well, there's always with sleep, it's important that he said stressful because right, stress is causing your issue. You have to address the stress. Rhodiola at 500 to 1,000 milligrams is really, 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 I'm hot on that because it's just like it's working for me, works for other people, a couple of my consulting clients. So rhodiola should help. You're going to need to not lower or raise cortisol, but manage the release of it at certain times throughout the day. And rhodiola just does that. Also, though, you might want to just enhance GABA functioning so that you can kind of get a control over excessive like glutamate or acetylcholine or dopamine function. And you do that, the safest way to do that would be to be taking Piracetam at nighttime, 20 to 40 milligrams. Can't tell you how many people that's helped substantially in a way that's like, it essentially changed their lives. If you change your sleep and optimize it, it will change your life. I mean, I know it sounds a little like Tony Robbins, but it's true. Do I ever take CBD with nootropics? Yes, I do. Every now and then I'll dose. I can't give you the exact dose because it's a honey stick. It's like a small thin stick of honey with CBD that I get like a local gas station with 500 milligrams of Alcar. And it gives me a good energetic state, but I feel really, really good at the same time. It's like my energy is good, but I feel like my mood is on point. Like I just feel happy and good. And I'm like smiling a lot. I'm like a little slower in my movement. I don't get stressed as easy. So absolutely you can. I think there's a lot of other combinations that folks can try too with CBD and nootropics. That might be useful for you, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with anything else other than that. Best administration route for L-theanine. Well, I mean, dosing it orally is going to be just fine. But what I have done in the past is taken like a spray bottle. Like I had a spray bottle of bitters that you just spray in your mouth. Bitters are like digestive, herbs that help you digest things. I dumped it out, washed it with hot water, and then I filled it up 3/4 of the way with L-theanine powder. God, I want to say it was like, it must have been like 500 milligrams or something of theanine powder. I filled the rest of it with distilled water and shook it and then carried it around with me. And every time that I felt like any degree of anxiety, I sprayed a couple sprays under my tongue and it relieved within 20, 30 minutes or so. I wasn't quite sure exactly on the dose that I was getting because, unless you really measure all that out and then do the ratios, you're not going to know. But yeah, I would say compared to oral administration of L-theanine, spraying it under the tongue after making a solution worked better for me. How many times a week do you eat beef? Does Ryan eat beef? I try to eat beef 3 times a week. I sometimes fall short of that and end up on it being 2 times a week just because my girlfriend doesn't eat a whole lot of beef. She will every now and then, but it's not her choice. She'll eat it with me. So mostly we'll do like chicken or something else sometimes, but she eats pork. But I mean, on my own, I make sure I eat beef at least twice a week. It's just, I feel so much better. It is the best source of protein for me besides hard-boiled eggs. I'm getting bioavailable B vitamins and a good bit of healthy cholesterol for the testosterone process. So 3 times a week is ideal. Normally I fall a little short of that at 2 times a week. And yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Do I feel energized when taking the testosterone protocol? So I guess what this person is asking is when I or other clients of ours that are doing the Viking testosterone protocol dose the protocol, do they feel an acute energy effect from it? The answer is yes, to an extent. It's not very substantial. Like, it's not going to be like a nootropic or taking modafinil, drinking an energy drink or something like that. But yeah, certainly there's a wakefulness agent or element to it. There's also sort of a calm focus and masculine element to it too. And that gives you energy. You know, like the difference between how I feel in the morning, waking up, having high testosterone versus when I had low testosterone, embarrassingly low testosterone, is pretty big. So I definitely feel more energized. But when I take the supplements, first of all, you take them at different times and throughout the day in a couple different increments. And then, you know, you're doing things like infrared red light therapy, which is kind of later in the day. It's sort of spread out, so hard to answer that question. Last question. Are some probiotic strains superior to others? The answer is definitely. Strains are, sure, but you're really looking at how you can get certain probiotics to colonize. That's the big problem with regular probiotics, is they don't colonize in your large intestine. They're transient. So they're there, they help for the time that you're taking them, and then essentially you just get rid of them, you excrete them. The only way around that, as far as anyone can tell, is spore-forming probiotics. So they essentially latch on into the colon and then begin to populate themselves because the spores latch on to the colon walls and then start to build and double from there if all other conditions are correct. So that's what I would say. Typical bifido and lacto bacilli probiotics are transient, and that's really all you're going to get out of that. So that's it. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Man, another Nootropics 20. I hope you guys like this format. Most of you guys have commented and said that you do like the format, so we're going to keep doing it. A couple things to talk about. Number one, tomorrow we're going to be doing a podcast, an audio podcast with Lucas from BrainX. BrainX is the nootropic company that's going to be launching out of Australia that we have to support. So yeah, go to brainx.me and get on the email list, just the pre-order list, to get notified of when the product launches. That's all they need. You're not buying anything. You're just kind of getting an email. You can opt out of it anytime you want to. But we want to support Lucas because he's one of us. He's another biohacker with great stuff. But tomorrow we're going to be doing a podcast where we're doing 6 very, very powerful biohacks. 3 from him that have like absolutely changed his life, and 3 from me that have absolutely changed my life. So stay tuned to that. It'll go on the YouTube channel, but it's primarily going to be on the Cortex Labs Nootropics podcast, which you can find on iTunes. Sponsors, look, we got deals on product. The Cortex stack, like I could not suggest, obviously it's our stack, so like we're going to promote it, but many other people could not suggest a better stack to take for mental energy, focus, motivation, verbal fluency, mood. It's just a great synergistic stack. We made it for people that need to get a lot of shit done. Cortex is a powerful stack. You can buy Cortex at livecortex.com right now. If you use the coupon code 5FIVE, that'll save you somebody takes $5 off. The Nootropics Masterclass is our most popular service by far. It's not a service, our most popular digital product by far. It's essentially a video course of me teaching you how to induce certain states on cue, how to really use nootropics at the expert echelon. But infused in it is, first of all, a lot of really powerful stacks, but explaining the stacks, a lot of principles. Why is a stack the way that it is? Why is it put together like this? We explain everything in that course. The results are insane. People getting their stacks situated and figured out and getting brain performance after treading water for 2 years. Get the Nootropics Masterclass at livecortex.com. Look, if you need my one-on-one help with you, to have a call with me and for me to listen to you and figure out what's happening and then suggest stacks and then work with you to perfect them, get the Nootropics Consulting Service. That's exactly what that does. And if you are a man and you need to raise testosterone, look, I was thinking about going on TRT, and then I just studied and researched and experimented for a long time. And I finally figured out how to legitimately raise my testosterone in a way that is measurable and in a way that is has a lot of continuity, meaning you keep doing the protocol, you can control your testosterone, you can keep raising it, or you can keep it where you eventually get to the point where you're happy with. It's called the Viking Testosterone Protocol, okay? It'll put hair on your chest, and you can get that at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. This has been another edition of the Nootropics 20. I'm going to talk to you next time.